It's a pizzazz ain't missing. Got the fat cats kissing. Let's bring the old days back.
Okay, we're rocking and rolling. Welcome to episode 45 of the Sunday Punch podcast. We are doing our first remote learning session here.
You're part of history, people. You're part of history.
You think we'd be better at this through a full year of a pandemic, but we still couldn't quite get it. So this is our first one. I'm feeling pretty good about it. Sean's broadcasting live from Florida. Sean, how is Florida so far?
Florida's great. The usual hot, humid summer. For those of you who are Florida natives or have spent enough time here to appreciate the summer weather, know that just about every afternoon we will get a full torrential thunderstorm. You will question if the apocalypse is occurring or not. You will worry that you're going to get flash flooded. And then in about 30 minutes, it just sort of disappears. And you're left with a cooled, calm, and collected afternoon. So I'm coming to you live from Paul and Brad's place, represent Paul and Brad over here in Gainesville, where we'll be spending some time and seeing them here when we do a Florida-Tennessee game here very shortly. So I'm living life, enjoying it, and happy to be part of the first Sunday Punch remote pod. Thank you, Adam.
Hey, cheers, brother.
Salud, my
What
man.
are you drinking? What are you drinking?
We got a Cabernet here. Is this a decoy, Brad?
Decoy.
We'll call it a decoy set.
We'll call it a decoy set.
Call it
I got one of that. I got one of those in my collection.
Great bottle. We had you and I like to take an opportunity when we have the chance to shout out to local Chicago restaurants. And we had an amazing dinner at Prime Provisions not too long ago where we got about a 1.5 liter bottle of the decoy. And that was a fantastic call on your part for that steak dinner. So here we are.
Hey, no
again.
problem, man. I am drinking what they call a Mickey Alt.
A Mickey Alt. It sounds like what you're trying to say is Michelob Ultra. And
It's
yet,
damn good. It's no decoy. You know what I love most about the Michelob Ultra, Sean?
give it to me. Give it to me.
Is it reminds me of college because all of the girls would be like, "Oh, I'll have a Michelob Ultra. I'm watching my calorie count," and then they'd proceed to drink 20 of them.
It's so true. Like the two options given to you as a sorority girl during a rush were, well, you can drink a vodka soda lime or you can drink Michelob Ultra and you'll be fine. But at some point when you multiply it 10x, you're still getting 900 calories just in alcohol in a given night.
Yeah, it's like just because you eat 49 salads doesn't mean that the calories stay the exact same.
The weight's not going to change, honey. I'm sorry. It's just not.
Dude, I knew a girl in college who I won't say her name, but you want to hear an extreme?
Oh, life is most interesting at the extremes. Please continue.
So she drank a little too much in her freshman year, put on that freshman 15. So instead of working hard, instead of just going to the gym like a normal human being, one of her roommates got mono and lost like 10, 15 pounds because of it. So she was like drinking out of all the same. She was trying to give herself mono.
It's a crash diet I'm on. It's called the mono diet. Really? That was her whole take? Every time that my patients complain to me that they're losing weight, I always, try to understand if it's intentional or unintentional, and then look for what I would call red flags that would make me think that they're going through a healthy and intentional form of weight loss and an unhealthy form of weight loss. And I have to say, taking on an infectious disease process, which can lead to other problems down the line, is something I cannot ever endorse. But I respect the effort. I respect the hustle.
Yeah, what about the Delta variant, dude? How many pounds can I lose off that?
Delta variant? You want to talk Delta variant?
Yeah, because I just got an update, dude. I'm plugged into the system. Okay,
give it to me. Give me the Matrix plug.
Someone, and I won't say her name. She just said a lot of people at Northwestern coming in with the Delta variant, and those people have the vaccine. Should we all be freaking out?
I'll corroborate this. So there's a number of patients I've been taking care of, and within the last month, so the last 30 days, it's July. It's the weekend of July 23rd. Here's we're recording this. I've had 4 patients who are double vaccinated with mRNA vaccines, 4 patients, 2 Pfizer, 2 Moderna. All 4 of these individuals have tested positive for COVID. We haven't spliced it out yet to determine Delta variant or not, but good money on the fact that it's the Delta variant. So, unfortunately, our mRNA, Pfizer, and Moderna effectiveness here looks to be dropping. I think current estimates are around 65 to 70% protection, down from about 90 to 95%. So this is definitely making inroads, is definitely penetrating. And I would 100% support what you're hearing from your folks at the hospital there, that we are seeing cases come through at a greater prevalence since the Delta variant got circulating.
Wait a second. But they're not dying.
Deaths are still quite low, which is good.
Okay.
But case numbers,
no reason to worry.
I won't hit the panic button yet. The question is, it depends.
Sean, I can't do another pandemic.
Me neither, dude.
I can't do it.
I'm with you. I can't do it again. I can't do it another, delayed season of this, delayed this of that. Well, quite frankly, I just refuse not to go to bars in Chicago for another summer. I will show up anyways and find a way in.
I'm going to the U.S. We're going to the Tennessee game. Okay?
We're going to Tennessee game. I'm here. I'm scouting it out.
Well, you're at the hot spot. You're at the number 1 hot spot.
I'm at ground zero, dude.
Yeah, you're at the hot spot in Florida. It's like Florida, Vegas, and then a huge drop off.
Well, it's Florida, Vegas, and New Delhi is basically the top 3 places right now for a Delta variant. Solidarity to New Delhi.
Right.
But no, I think that thankfully it's only infections right now. We're not seeing a ton of severe infections or deaths from this. And actually, there was a good study out of Israel. I think it was in the last 48 hours showing that severe illness, which includes hospitalization, is still being largely curbed by at least the Pfizer vaccination. So if we're treating that apples to apples with Moderna, which I think is reasonable, we should still be okay.
Hey, I have a question because how do you guys name these things? Because it was like Corona, Delta. Because I'm in advertising. Like, is there a chance, like I could throw a name into the hat? Could we be like the Hot Pockets virus or the Cheetos?
This is COVID-19 Sunday Punch variant.
Bagel Bites virus.
This is the trolley bright collar variant.
The American Airlines variant.
I think that unfortunately, there are, as an example, so the common cold is caused by a virus called rhinovirus, and there are thousands of serotypes. There are thousands of strains of this, right? So any alphabet in the world you want to choose is eventually going to run out of numbers, letters, however you want to think of it, letters, I guess, in this case. So we can use the Greek alphabet all we want, but eventually we're going to run out of letters for that one too. So we either got to nip this thing in the bud or start going to, I don't know, planets, Greek gods.
Or like the hurricane system,
For the hurricane system, right?
Yeah,
right.
Andrew's on his way. It's a virus.
Before you know it, it's COVID-19. It's COVID-19, the Travis variant. Also, I want to watch out for tropical depression.
You can combine them. You can save a lot of people's time. You'll be like, tropical depression, Susan, and virus is on the way.
Not unreasonable. So this way we streamline it for the sheeple. We condense it all. So hopefully we don't run out of letters. That would be a problem, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Okay, enough with this.
Let's get down to brass tacks.
Wait a second. I got a few more current events I want to get your thoughts on. Okay. Bezos just went to space. Someone he's auctioning off space tourism. Someone just paid $28 million to go to space, Sean.
It's really impressive.
By the way, just think about that while I go off on this. If someone said to me, like, hey, you want to go to space? Right now, I'd be like, I don't know. Like, I got some plans. Like, that's how low of interest I have in doing that. So...
Really?
Jeff Bezos keeps talking about this giant demand. It's like literally someone could say, do you want to go to space this weekend? And I'd have to think about it.
You don't want to be the first podcast on the moon? You don't be the first podcast on the moon? Come on.
It's a commitment, dude. Plus, if I'm Neil Armstrong, dude, think about it while I go off on this. If I'm Neil Armstrong, okay, my story at a dinner party significantly gets less and less cool. Or Buzz Aldrin. Who's alive still from are half these people dead? But like if you're at a dinner party and you're like, oh, now he goes to a dinner party. You know, I went to space. I'm the first guy in space. Blah blah blah. And people are like, yeah, Steve just went to space. No one gives a fuck, Buzz.
He just paid $28 million and he went. So like, what's your story?
I don't want to have so much money that like how big of an asshole, how big of a fucking asshole do you have to be like, oh, 28 million? I could solve a lot of problems with this, but instead I'd like to myself go to space because I want to see a star a tiny bit closer than what I do currently.
It is pretty hilarious. I mean, like when you look at like, just for example, those who, just to put kind of an exclamation point on what you're saying here, when we look at the I think it was a four person crew that went to space in the Blue Origins or Blue Horizons, whatever it is, Blue Dagger, Blue Penis, Jeff Bezos.
Blue penis,
the
blue balls.
Penis rocket, the blue balls rocket. I mean,
by the way, but can I jump in there for a second? Because I'll forget.
Please.
I've been drinking too many Mickey Alts, dude. I'll forget. I like how everyone's like, oh, it looks like a penis. Oh, of course, like these rich guys, they have to compensate and make it look like a big dick. It's like, well, there's some physics involved in this shit. Okay, we can't make it look like a vagina, or else we'd have to like frisbee the rocket to the moon. We'd have to boomerang that shit.
I mean, at some point you have to respect aerodynamics. I completely agree. Like there's not many things that are
what do you want it shaped like
are long pointed and blast off to the atmosphere that don't look somewhat phallic in nature. It's like, oh, he's so insecure. It's like, let's be clear.
Like rockets have looked the same for 1 million years.
1 billion.
1 million years. And it's like every meme by the way, we've all seen a penis. It's like, why is this like suddenly a meme? Like, oh, it's a penis. Oh yeah, okay.
It's like
I see one every day when I look down, when I urinate. It's not a big deal.
Your Mickey Alt bottle looks as much like a penis as the Blue Origins rocket, quite frankly.
Yeah, who designed this Michelob Ultra? Jeff Bezos?
Clearly a chauvinist. I guess my point here is, it is kind of interesting. You mentioned the price tag on this thing. I mean, the kid who was on that trip, the 18-year-old Oliver Damon, I mean, he got the spot because a guy who had previously paid $30 million for that spot had a scheduling conflict and like couldn't make the flight. No, I swear to God, look this up.
Lying.
Like,
you're lying.
He couldn't make it because of a scheduling conflict. So he was like, how about this 18? I don't know if it was a family member or a friend, but he like threw the ticket to Oliver Damon. It's just kind of like, are you kidding me? $30 million.
But how did he know? So would this guy like win like the raffle or something?
I think
the golden ticket, Willy Wonka style?
I think the original Willy Wonka guy, the original Oompa Loompa, shall we call him, had some scheduling conflict, had to cancel. And they were like, who's next up? And it wasn't Adam or Sean. It was this Oliver Damon. I think there was some, inside connection clearly. But I mean,
whoa. I really need to, someone comment or send me a direct message on Instagram. I need the backstory of Oliver Damon.
Yeah.
What the world? Why, how this 18-year-old is this like his son or
he's an 18-year-old kid. Yeah, he's the youngest person in space, I think. Now he holds the record for that, which is kind of funny because I believe the I believe the female who went up was like the oldest person in space, and she was a female. So he's 20. He's probably like a Swedish DJ for all I know. It's like the next coming of Avicii or whatever it is.
I love how that's like a record now that fucking idiot's gonna have forever.
Youngest person in space, dude.
We talk about a dinner party story.
Oh my God.
Talk about it, dude.
You know that guy wasn't going to space going, I'm so getting laid after this one. I mean, come on.
Wait, wasn't doing that? I was thinking he would be doing that.
No, I'm saying if you can't pull tail after going to space, like I don't know. I don't know what you're waiting for.
What are the stories? What's the hierarchy of stories where you're definitely getting with a chick at a bar? It's like, I got bit by a shark, I survived, and then after that's got to be I'm the youngest guy in space.
Yeah, it's either near-death experiences that you escaped, or situations you put yourself in, which kind of go beyond the pale. So, for example, me going to a bar and being like, "Hey, I went skydiving." That gets me nowhere. But you saying I was on one of the first commercial flights to space, and by the way, hold the record for the youngest astronaut.
Hold the record. World. I love that. Like he's Usain Bolt or something. Like he did anything other than just exist and know a rich guy.
Well, let's be clear. He could have been an amoeba strapped to a chair and blasted off on a rocket, and he'd have the record for the youngest amoeba ever put into space. Right? Effort-wise, there's no accomplishment to that.
I don't know. Is Paula there?
Paula's going for a walk on the golf course with Bradley. So God knows what those kids are getting into.
Oh, she's gone. She's out of the room.
Paula, you still here? You want to go and bring her on?
I want to ask, or at least ask her, how impressive that is, and if it would influence a smooch.
We need to get a female's opinion on this. So the topic of conversation is Oliver Damon, who you can't look at a picture of, by the way.
Assume he looks like either me or Sean.
Assume he looks like, I don't know. Let's call it a 7 out of 10 or above.
Yeah. Yeah, keep going.
He blasts off into space. Okay. Makes it back. He's now the youngest person in space. Okay. How smooch-worthy is that information?
That he's the youngest person in space?
How smooch-worthy is that? Does that make him hotter? From a female's perspective. Into the microphone, Paula, so the whole world can hear you.
Oh, God, this is so much pressure. I feel like marginally so, but it's not like, oh, my God, panty dropper. You know?
I don't.
Hey, ask her the next question.
Marginally better, but not panty dropper. All right, next
ask
question.
Her the next question. Is that cooler, or the guy's like? Is that cooler, or the guy's like, I survived a shark attack,
What's cooler?
and nothing. He's not missing an arm or any. Maybe he's missing like a pinky.
Okay. Follow-up question. What's hotter from a female perspective? Guy at the bar, let's call it, I don't know, pick something random, Cantina. Okay. And a guy approaches you, 2 guys approach you. One says he's been bitten by a shark. He's a surfer.
No, not just bitten. An attack. A shark attacked him.
Attack. Excuse me, he's been attacked. Lost a pinky?
Yeah, lost a pinky.
Lost a pinky, or the guy that went to space. Who's more likely to pull? Again, for the whole world.
Oh man, this is tough.
I might go surfer.
Yes,
we have
thank
surfer.
you. See, that's what I said.
Adam agrees.
See, that's what
Adam
I said.
Agrees. Because why, Paula?
I don't know. I feel like surfer is more likely to like just kind of come up in conversation. Like, oh, I surf. Like, what happened to your pinky, dude? Oh, like, oh, well, you know, shark bit it. Versus like space is like, hey, do you want to know what happened to me? I went to space. I just want to like let you know. So do you want to submit it also?
That's a great point. I like that point. That's a good point.
By the way, yeah. Thank you, Paula.
As Paula said, no one casually brings up their space flight.
Thank you, Paula. Well, I would trust me, Sean. I'd be able to do it, dude. We'd be
to be clear, I'd bring up the space.
No. Oh, dude. Here's how you bring it up. You never mention it. You're on the 50-yard line of the UF Gators, 50-yard line in the swamp, baby.
Of course.
You're looking up at the stars, and she says, I love, either space or stars. I love doing this. And then you just say, I've been there once.
As if it's like Topeka, Kansas.
Yeah.
Well, that was...
I've been there once. And then she's like, what? And you're like, well, yeah, when I was 18. Actually, now that I think of it, I was the youngest person ever.
Now I think of it. I mean, I don't know if I guess we could look this up, but I think I was the youngest person to ever go. No, I really love the scenario of like, hey, you want to like go out to my truck and go watch like go watch the, something stupid, like go watch a meteor shower or something like that. And then you get out there to a meteor shower, which of course is not real, but you said there was a meteor shower, and you sit out there and she just goes, I wonder what's up there. And you go, I could tell you.
Yeah, I could tell you. Not much.
I can tell you.
Some asshole who spent $28 million. That's who's up there. And another guy who designed a rocket like a penis and also looks like a penis himself.
I'm going to throw this out there, by the way. So Werner von Braun was a German rocket engineer.
Name.
Great name. Werner von Braun was a German rocket engineer under what some might call the Nazi regime of Germany in the 1930s.
Right. Okay.
I'm not a historian, but you get the idea. And designed or helped design the V2 rocket, which reached space in like 1943. Then they decided, hey, let's put a payload on this and shoot it over to Britain. And so we were they were bombing Britain. Okay. But I guess my point here is like, how much did Bezos really invent?
He didn't invent shit. He's a rich guy who hired, just like all those other idiots.
Right?
Look, they're not idiots, obviously, but, for the purposes of my conversation, just like Steve Jobs, just like Bill Gates, very smart guys at one thing, get super rich, right? And then I'm supposed to believe this guy knows about vaccines now. But I mean, let's be honest, right? Like, super smart guy, right? But why does that then transfer to everything else he talks about? Like, it's like, oh, did you hear Elon Musk about COVID? It's like, why the fuck do I care about what Elon Musk thinks about COVID? The guy makes cars and PayPal.
You wouldn't ask me to predict the. Right, you wouldn't ask me to predict the next, volcanic eruption. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
I have no qualification for that.
This isn't Jeff Bezos. Isn't a god. It's not like, hey, let's ask Jeff Bezos his philosophy on religion because he fucking figured out how to make a package show up at your door a tiny bit quicker. Let's ask him about Hinduism because he obviously has mastered everything.
Paula, Brad, and I had a great conversation about this at one of our favorite restaurants in Gainesville, Dragonfly, this evening. Which, if you haven't seen the episode of Ryan Lochte on like Bachelors of Gainesville or whatever the F it was called, like taking a bait.
Not Bachelors of Gainesville. The whole show was about Ryan Lochte just
it's just called Lochte,
chicks.
I think.
Yeah.
He takes a flues bang to Dragonfly. It's just like sake and chaos for an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I don't like shrimp. And you're like, oh, this is a great show. This is a wonderful program that I'm watching.
Let's go back to my Audi. But I guess point being, we were talking, and it's like everybody becomes kind of an armchair scientist. And unfortunately, when you get these billionaires, they just have such a larger camera on them, and such a larger ability to kind of project their thoughts and their nonsense into the world. They think, well, I probably have something intelligent to say here, but that's not the case at all.
Dude, and I want to back off because I would do the exact same thing in the scenario. I would do they'd be like, if I ever look, Sunday Punch takes off, right? We get the Lamborghini.
Well, it has, but sure.
Yeah, we get the Lamborghini yacht like Conor McGregor. So people think we're smarter than we possibly are, right? And they're like, wait, one of them's a doctor. They could be pretty smart, dude. And then they come to me and they're like, hey, what do you think about race relations? I would spew off. I'd be like, I'd be just talking and shit would be coming out of my mouth. And I'd be like, and they're like, look, he knows a lot about podcasts. We should probably listen to him. But I would do that. I'd preface nothing. I wouldn't be like, hey, you guys probably shouldn't be asking me. I could see my own ego becoming Jeff Bezos' size and being like, yeah, let me tell you what's wrong with the world. And by the way, I'm influencing elections now because I'm good at podcasts. So right. I should I should be asked about elections because I did this one thing right in my life. Because I stayed late without,
It's like
instead of going home to my wife, who's going to divorce me in the future, I stayed late figuring out how a cardboard box can fit easier into a shelf so that can then get to your home faster. Ask me about politics and elections.
Well,
that's my take on that, Sean. That's my take.
If shelf space doesn't qualify you for whether or not the aliens are among us and whether or not,
right,
Maricopa County voting machines are actually putting out fake numbers, that I quite frankly don't know what qualifies you to comment on those items.
I figured out how to program a website to show up and then a pop-up to come up on that website. Now I'm Bill Gates, right? Now let me tell you how vaccines work. That's what happened. That is literally the sequence of events. I figured out how to make a website. Now let me tell you about vaccines.
And it wasn't even that. It was not only let me inform you about the vaccines, but here's my agenda to put a magnet in your skin, or here's my agenda to place a tracking device in your skin. It's like, not only am I qualified to tell you how they work, but I actually have an ulterior motive whereby I am controlling or monitoring the population through this process.
I just realized I'm going to get fucking crushed on this. I should
on your next statement?
No, just on the last 10 minutes. People are going to listen to this and be like, you're such a First of all, Tom is still not over. Tom Bird is still not over my first statement of, I don't really care about going to space. Tom Bird's still thinking, well, dude, bro, you don't want to go to space? So that is
his
blowing
tongue's
his
still
mind.
On the floor. His tongue's still on the floor.
The regular public is going to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? These guys are super smart. Obviously, we should listen to them. So I'm going to get crushed on that. I already realized that. Now I'm realizing.
Can't wait.
Look,
can't wait.
Elon Musk should decide. Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and Jeff Bezos should just decide what happens for the rest of humanity. There you go. I just said it. I'll clip it out.
Well, I mean, my argument here is like, know what you're good at, know where you belong. And if someone's not shoving a camera and microphone in your face, like, it's okay to say, I just don't have an informed comment on that. I need to get more educated, or I need to inform somebody else, not, just kind of spew off because you're there and fuck it. Why not? Which I think is half these guys.
These guys are just anybody, dude. The ego will not allow you to do that. Just like LeBron James, who is an amazing look, all right, let's break this down, okay? Let's get all the way down to LeBron James, right? Okay, so I'm admitting that Bill Gates, Elon Musk. Let me make the point, dude. I'm admitting Bill Gates.
Seems like an appropriate segue.
It is, if you let me tie it together. Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos. Those are all really smart guys, right? But the ego. My point is, the ego will not allow. So even all the way down to LeBron James, who's amazing at basketball, now thinks he can solve race relations that have been going on for hundreds of years because his ego. And I'm not saying anything about like obviously that's what you should do with that powerful position. But I think that he actually believes that, wait a second, what I'm saying is absolutely right and everyone should listen to me, which is the same thing that 100%. Jeff Bezos and all of those guys are doing, but on a lesser scale. What do you mean 100%. Race relations are on the equal scale? I know. I get it. Okay. I understand. I'm getting into dangerous waters. Remember when we were supposed to be talking about the Milwaukee Bucks?
Yeah, so much for that.
I prefaced this episode with Sean with, hey, this is going to be a quick one about our Milwaukee Bucks NBA championship reactions. 30 minutes in, I'm spewing about Jeff Bezos versus LeBron James.
which pretty much is on brand for the Sunday Punch podcast, all things considered. I mean, if newsflash viewership, if you thought you were going to get, if you walked in here thinking you were going to get what was on the title of the cover, not going to happen.
Hey, can I put in a request to the cabal of geniuses? Look, the girl I met in Mexico can now no longer come to the United States of America because we can go wherever we want. The girl I want to come visit, I want to fly her into Houston, Jocelyn.
Of course.
Can't happen. Mexicans aren't allowed into the United States of America. So can the cabal of geniuses figure that one out for me? Because I'd love to have her in Houston. I'd love to have her in Houston in late August. So if Jeff Bezos could take some time away from his rocket ship and figure that one out for us everyday folks who just like to smooch hot chicks, then maybe I'll reconsider the entire last portion of this podcast.
Elon, you got a month. Figure it out for us.
Anything to add, Sean?
No, I think that checks out. I'm just shocked that the administration that we just elected can't solve this for you. I mean, I thought that was the whole platform.
Sunday Punch is about pop culture, politics, and then sports. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Speaking of, let's move on. We're at 30 minutes in.
I'm ready.
Let's do sports.
I'm ready.
Let's do sports.
Good preamble.
Did you watch? How many of the games did you watch, Sean? This has been a busy couple months for us.
You watched all,
dude. I watched every game of the NBA playoffs, and then when it got to the finals, when it was important, I watched 2 of the games.
2?
I only watched 2. I was busy. I don't know what was going on.
Which games?
I watched,
which games?
Well, obviously, I watched the last game. Game 6.
Game 6. Good.
And then I watched Game 4 where Chris Paul absolutely choked.
I think those are the right games to watch. I mean, for any kind of real commentary, I think those are the right games to watch. I have a lot of thoughts on what Chris Paul did in games 1 and 2, what transitioned in game 3, all of it.
We'll go backwards. Let's just start off. Winners and losers. Okay? Winners. Who's your biggest winner? And then I'll give you mine. Of the entire
season or of the finals?
No, of the finals. Which is basically the season. I mean, let's be honest. The goal is win a championship, right?
Biggest individual winners as far as players go?
Yeah, or you could say the city, or you could say like players, the city, the coaches, whatever.
So I think hands down the answer for me, the biggest winner that we saw coming was or could have seen coming was Giannis.
Okay.
But the biggest winner.
By the way, I have a. Oh, okay. I have a different biggest winner.
But my personal biggest winner is Chris Middleton.
Oh, I love that. And why is that? Because yeah. Go ahead. You go.
My take on that is that what we saw from Chris Middleton was really consistent, high quality play, but above everything else, in my opinion, was clutch closing moves on offense and defense that really helped seal the deal for the Bucks in moments when arguably it was up to Giannis and question mark who else. And I think Chris Middleton gave them consistently good play with clutch final minutes plays and points above all. And I think that he was somebody who I think has talent, had maybe a lot of development throughout his season so far, but just needed a stage where we could all really take notice of him. And I think he really delivered here. I really do. So I mean, there's a sixth man award in the NBA. I think if you were to give a second man award for the NBA finals, it has to be Chris Middleton.
And he made what I think was the biggest shot I saw of Game 6.
Game 6, yep.
Look, it was close, and then Middleton makes a crazy fadeaway.
I think it was 100 to 96, and then it was either Crowder or Booker missed a 3-point opportunity. I think Booker missed a wide open 3-point opportunity. Crawford, I think, had missed the preceding 3-point opportunity, and then Chris Middleton hit that big shot and went up 102 to 96. That was incredible.
Yeah. Well, the miss. Well, we'll get to the biggest losers. I have Devin Booker in there, but okay, I love that. I love that pick because I thought.
Who's your biggest winner?
Obviously, we're gonna go with Giannis. My biggest winner. You know my biggest winner, Sean. My biggest winner is Coach Bud. I mean, it's clear as day to
I
me.
knew it.
It's clear as
Margaritaville.
day, dude. It's clear as day. The biggest winner to me is Coach Bud. We're talking about a guy that was going to be fired if he didn't win the championship. And by the way, footnote, emphasis on foot. If Kevin Durant's giant alien toe isn't on the line, Coach Bud is fired. Isn't that nuts?
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that
If
crazy?
Kevin
You and I were
Durant's
watching that
Space
game
Jam
in Westloop.
alien toe isn't on the line. They win by 1 point, and Coach Bud is now fired from the Milwaukee Bucks.
And instead, he'll get to sign a massive contract.
And instead, how long do you think he's going to be in Milwaukee now? 4 years. I would say 10.
10?
Sean put 4 years up.
4 years.
I think it guarantees 10.
Wow.
Look at Rick Carlisle in Dallas, dude. He wins one. He never wins a playoff series after that. He's there for 10 years.
That is unbelievable. That is actually unbelievable.
Funny little caveat is a little tie together here is if Kevin Durant makes that 3, Coach Bud gets fired. My sources say that Rick Carlisle would have been the coach of the Bucks.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't it crazy? It's like literally. All right, and this will tie in my next point. Next biggest winner,
3 inches.
obviously.
3 inches
next
makes a
biggest
difference.
winner to me is obviously Giannis because,
Yes.
all right, all of these different like little things that happened completely changed the narrative. I mean, again, if Kevin Durant's giant toe is not on the line, we're sitting here saying, Giannis, I don't know, man. I don't know. What are you gonna do in Milwaukee? Right? So that narrative then changed 4 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago, we were saying Giannis, I don't know. You remember Chris texting us? Hey, I love Giannis, but I don't know about him, man.
Hate to say it.
To now fast forward. Well, it's Giannis's league now. I mean, dude, like that's how quickly things change.
It's a great point. I mean, Kevin Durant's size 18 shoe literally makes the location of Giannis, the tone of the league, arguably, I mean, legacy is at stake now here. I mean, like the NBA thought they had
legacies. Finish your point because I have a point after that. About your legacy statement.
Giannis has won Defensive Player of the Year, 2 league MVPs back to back. I think it was. Now he has a ring and a Finals MVP. I think. I mean,
you can always fall back on that ring now.
I mean, if you have the ring in the back pocket, you pull it out and you go, say something.
Yeah, right.
Go
exactly.
Ahead.
And what are you gonna say? Like really? Like you play who's in front of you. Doesn't matter. If you're a winner, you're a winner. Nobody remembers this shit in 10 years. You think anyone's going to remember this shit in 10 years? They're going to just be like, Giannis scored 50 in a finals game. 7 other humans have done that, including him. It's like, that's a fucking huge thing. LeBron's never done that. Michael has.
Huge
Actually,
deal.
I'm not sure about that.
Retract. I think Michael has. I think Hakeem. I think Pettit.
Let's not. Pettit did. Let's not go through the list because we're going to look like dumbasses.
So okay, but I guess we'll get to Chris Paul, but on the same or in the same.
Well, yeah,
theme
we're
at
not on
least,
the losers yet, dude. Don't worry about that. I got my losers set up.
In the same theme, there's an opportunity to say like, you know, there weren't great games for Giannis, but there was a game that was very bad for Chris Paul in Game 4, and if the Phoenix Suns win, that legacy overshadows a bad game. But that Game 4, and like we'll talk about losers, Giannis will be remembered for Game 6.
Yeah, I mean, it just rings out perfectly. I mean, I was literally like rooting so hard for him to hit.
Yeah.
that free throw to get to 50 because, 10 years from now, we're talking Giannis is 50. It rings better than 49, right?
Yep.
So it's like, oh, Giannis had 50. By the way, well, let's just get to it. Giannis is then, after my coach Bud is the biggest winner, Giannis is obviously the next guy. 50 the hard way, okay? He's not making threes.
The hard way.
He's not making threes. He's not making easy
in the
jump.
paint, dunks. Nope. Yep.
And biggest moment of his entire life. And you forget completely about, oh no, Sean's offline. I don't know what happened. I'm going to continue on. I hope he joins back. You forget completely about...
Oh.
Yeah, okay, here he's back.
Got you back.
Okay, did you hear where I was going with that?
You forget completely is the last thing I heard.
You forget completely about his free throw struggles in the previous rounds because in the biggest moment, he showed up and he made, basically for Giannis standards, all of his, he missed 2, 3. It's like, but he took like 20.
I think he went 17 for 19. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he went 17 for 19 or something like that.
Like, think about it. If Giannis is just part of his usual averages, then the Bucks lose. So he fucking stepped up in the biggest moment and he delivered. And that is the difference between, I don't know about Giannis to, well, it's now Giannis's league. And that's awesome. I love it.
It is amazing how there's something that I really enjoy about sort of the Coliseum gladiator aspect of this, that if you walk out into that court and you just own it during a single game, you really totally change history. You can show up and you can own it. And in a beautiful way, Giannis said that game, you're going to have to beat me. Like, yeah, the team's here, but like, you're going to have to beat me personally. And for a guy who had the hyperextended knee like he did, and call it youth, call it wasn't as bad as we thought it was, call it luck, like, was able to come back with confidence and to own it. He really said, like, you have to beat me. I think it was, what wasn't the game 6 in Milwaukee?
Yeah.
Like 2-2, 1-1. Yeah, you have to beat me here was just so powerful and so amazing for him.
By the way, if that was LeBron, he would have been using that the entire time. Does
course.
anyone, like, Giannis never reached to his knee after a bad play. Giannis never was like referencing the knee in the post game. LeBron would have gone beat that drum to fucking death. By the way, LeBron, everything revolves around LeBron for me. But I can't let him get away with it, Sean. He shows up.
He's haunting you. He's haunting you.
He shows up to the game with Chris Paul. Remember, he showed up to the game, not game 6, but he showed up to the game to root on Chris Paul. And it just so happens that Space Jam came out that weekend. You really think he came out? He came out to get on camera to promote Space Jam. Come on, people. This is easy PR shit. Like, why does no one get it but me?
Which, by the way, tanked.
But why does no one get it but me? Like, he doesn't give a fuck about Chris Paul, dude. Come on. Anyways, I don't want to get negative. So I put the third biggest winner is, because of that, me. I was just enjoying after LeBron left, after LeBron got kicked out, I have never enjoyed an entire playoff series and finals, the 2 games I watched, more.
Right.
Just the relaxation, watching both teams that I enjoy watching, players that I enjoy watching, not some fucking dipshit fool that I literally makes me stay up at night, like after he's in the finals, and like ruins my entire week. So I'm the third biggest winner. And then I put Chris Middleton.
Hey.
Me and then Chris Middleton.
To you, man.
Me and then Chris Middleton, who actually won an NBA championship.
You and the guy with the ring.
Yeah. And then my last. Do you have any other big winners? Because I have one more.
Oh, my last one was actually going to be Adam Silver, and just like what
Head guy.
It's the PC answer, but to come out of the bubble and host a successful season and to really give us a finals that we've all been waiting for and hoping for, I think that was fantastic. And it wasn't with the marquee names that we're used to necessarily, but it was with just really good people who were battling out games. And, in ways I like the Western Conference Finals, and actually I should say the Eastern Conference Finals as much or more than for the NBA Finals. But just to come out of the bubble, have a system in place. I mean, Chris Paul, it's easy to forget, had COVID during these finals and still played. And I think that's a really cool testament.
Was that was during this finals? I've missed too many. Oh, wow. Anyways, I have my last big winner is PJ Tucker.
PJ, hustle defender.
Let's not forget, PJ
guy.
Tucker was on Houston at the beginning of this year with fat James Harden complaining and not doing anything. And
that's a great point.
You're in a really terrible situation when John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins are like, this guy's a terrible teammate. John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins are calling out James Harden. That's how toxic that situation got.
Right.
So he went from that terribleness to NBA champion and chugging champagne in a parade. Huge winner to me. And
not just chugging, like literally taking a bottle to the dome.
Taking a decoy to the dome, bro. That's what that champagne bottle looked like.
Seriously.
Yeah. All right, biggest losers.
Holy smokes, you're not kidding.
Biggest losers. Devin Booker for me is the biggest loser. Not surprisingly, not Chris Paul.
I go back and forth between. Yeah, I think Devin Booker trumps Chris Paul. Chris Paul, you could argue. There's a lot of conversation to be had about Chris Paul, but to stay focused here, I think Devin Booker, for all of the tenacity he's shown, for all of the energy, for all of the fight he's shown, he's a guy who you really, maybe not expect, but certainly hope will show up in big moments. And what we saw in Game 6 was just consistent inadequacy
over 7
during big
3.
moments. 0 for 7 beyond the arc. You're absolutely right. And to be fair, like Booker's a tough 2 guy, takes a lot of tough 2s. I'll give him that. Maybe 3 game isn't his range, but he had open looks beyond the arc and blew it.
And I also put him as my biggest loser because that's, to me, without going to another team. And the same is true for Chris Paul. I think that's the closest he can get with Phoenix to a championship.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard to recreate what they had this year. And I hate to be this, not conspiracy theorist, but to kind of retroactively look back and say, what helped get Phoenix there? And arguably it was good team play a lot of the way and health largely until the final. But let's be honest, a lot of teams in the West had injury. A lot of teams in the West didn't have who they needed to, and therefore kind of were getting out of Phoenix's way ahead of Phoenix. And I don't know that I see, unless something repeats itself, Anthony Davis and LeBron being unhealthy simultaneously or in some way injured late in the finals. I don't know that I see the Clippers, Golden State, the Clippers being without Kawhi. Yep. It's going to be really hard for Phoenix to kind of get out of that pool again here in the future moving forward with those teams and that talent.
Next biggest loser, Chris Paul.
It has to be.
Game 4 was terrible.
Huge turning point for
terrible.
him.
Why it was terrible? He was deferring to old bull here. He was deferring to Cameron Payne. And it made me think oh, yikes. Like, the thing with Chris Paul is we can't keep doing the back and forth. Okay, we can't keep saying, "Oh, he's injured." Oh, wait, but then he had a great game, so he's not. Oh, but he's injured. he just had bad games. Let's stop with the injury thing. And I don't know. The big moment thing is like an argument against him, but it's like the guy who scores 40 against the Clippers is now afraid of a big moment. It's like, to me, it's like, I don't know if that argument holds up. It's just like, it's not good for him. And I just think he had too many bad games.
It's not good for him. I think that's a really good take at him. I mean, a guy who sustains a wrist injury, what was it, early in like the Clippers, the Nets series? I can't quite recall. I'm sorry, not the Nets series, but the Clippers.
He's got a little LeBron in him
series.
too.
And then
he's got a little LeBron in him,
right? And he's a protege of that whole kind of theme, whether intentionally or unintentionally. And then to go on and score 40, 41 in Game 6 against the Clippers. You know, that this is my conference. I'm going to the finals, then show up and have, good games early, and then come out looking like the Monstars sort of stole his power, just to make the
right.
The Space Jam reference here. It's kind of like, what's going on? And he didn't have his handles with him. He was making highly erroneous passes in Game 4. And that was a big turning point. I mean, there's one point where between Jay Crawford and I think somebody else on the wing, he basically threw a pass down the middle of the two of them and said something and like the look was kind of like, well, I just sort of split the difference. It's like, that's not the guy that you need right now. And it's hard to claim that the moment was too big for Chris Paul when it's like, how much more experience and wherewithal do you need prior to the finals to feel comfortable in that moment, especially when such a young team, well, I should say in elements, a young team on the Bucks got there and did well, Giannis showing up and that sort of thing. It's really frustrating.
And never complain about his injury.
And never complaining.
Like he tore his ACL and MCL and everything else.
Well, because ACL was gone. I agree.
I love Giannis. I really do. I love him. He might be my new favorite player.
He rose to the moment, and I know that means a lot for all fans. He rose to the moment. You kind of saw a world going down 2-0 up front with the 2 home games in Phoenix, where how's he going to get out of this one? You have the seasoned Chris Paul, you have the spark plug in Devin Booker. How's he going to get out of this one? And then the need to add to it. And he just found a way to will himself and his team forward into a championship. And it was a beautiful thing. Hard to dislike a guy like that.
Yeah. Are you going to pay Chris Paul if you're the GM 25 million? Well, no, I think he's owed something insane. I think it's even. I haven't looked at the numbers, but let's just call it an insane amount of money for a guy who is a short point guard who consistently has these games that we just discussed and is old.
The challenge that I think that the Phoenix GM will have in dismissing him will be how far they came from the previous year to where they got this year. If Phoenix had been an Eastern Conference semifinals and out team, and then they add Chris Paul and they get to the finals and they don't win the finals, I think it's easier to dismiss him in a way than it is going from where they were to where they came this year. So I think he probably will get paid. They'll want to give him. I think he will get paid. I think they'll give him another shot here. They'll give him a little more time, but I don't think it goes beyond one more year. But I think because of how far they came with him and the
I think you got to give him a 3-year deal. The crazy thing is, I think the market. I think the market is. I think the market is he's going to get a 3-year deal.
That I probably can't abide then. I think that it's a little too much for a guy where he is.
And then it's like, what do you do if you're Chris Paul? I wouldn't pay him. No, I don't. No, absolutely not. I love Chris Paul as on prior episodes. I think he's awesome. Yeah. But look, he's gonna go to the Lakers. I mean, that's just what's gonna happen. And the Lakers, even if he wins, it's like, that was kind of lame. You had to go to your old buddy to win a ring. It's so lame.
Can the Lakers afford him, Adam? I don't know.
They'll figure it out. I don't know how these teams do the math, dude. They'll go over the luxury or something. They'll figure it out. whatever. Fuck
They'll
it.
sacrifice
see.
some depth,
We'll see
or
what
someone will
happens.
give up a. Yeah.
And then last thing
Let's
before
see
we
here.
sign.
Other
Go ahead.
other big losers. Other big losers.
Yeah, I was gonna say before we sign off here, or approaching the hour mark here. Jay Crowder, he lost last year in the bubble with the Heat, and now he's lost with the Suns.
I know, poor guy.
What are you gonna do?
And it's not like, you know, there were individual moments or individual shots, I should say, where Jay Crowder didn't maybe hit that big game winner. But to be fair, that's not really who he is as a player, right? I mean,
I thought he had a great playoffs. I mean, but the facts are the facts. You did lose.
I agree. You know, he had a great NBA playoffs as he sometimes does. This is one of his better ones. But it's just he's got to be sitting there wondering, like, what do I have to do? What's the formula I need here to do this? And I don't know what he can try besides, basically, to your point, getting bought out by a LeBron or a Milwaukee or a Golden State at this point.
Right. I don't know. That kind of sucks, dude. I feel bad for the guy. I'd be devastated if I went to the finals twice and then didn't win.
I feel bad for the guy.
Back to back. Anyways, I think this was a good one, Sean. I think we're good.
Quick 56-minute take. Yeah, I love it.
56 minutes. Thanks for joining remotely. I've been waiting all day. Maybe it came out while we were on this podcast. Kanye West's new album was supposed to come out today.
Has.
Well, I don't know. It hasn't yet. Kanye's doing that thing. Kanye's doing that thing he does where he's like, "Oh, I'm going to release it this day," and then he's just like, "No, never mind. I'm just not." It's like they're always like with him. They're like, "Oh, he's a perfectionist." It's like, do you know any other job where you'd be like, "Hey, I'm going to have this on this day," and then literally 100% of the time you're like, "I don't know. It's not ready." I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's not ready.
It's not ready.
Right. It's not like a sculpture. He has to like sand one more thing down. It's like, no, like you've produced the music or you have it. Like the albums will be in the store or they won't. That's it.
Yeah. It's like, you're the one who announced the due date, dude.
Are you, I'm curious,
excited.
Does this make you want to pull this for us on your, wait, but hold on now. Does this make you want to pull this kind of stunt on the rest of us when you release your Halloween album?
Happy thoughts, dude. I was doing some more lyrics last night. It's pretty good. It's pretty solid.
Really?
No, I'll release it Halloween. It might not be 7. Like, I'll just release whatever I have at the time.
I can't wait. We're on for next weekend. Same time, same place, same channel.
Yeah. What's the deal? When are you coming back?
I'll be back, Daddy-o. I'll be back Friday.
Oh, wait, next Friday?
This coming Friday.
Oh, this coming Friday. Okay. So, yeah. Yeah, let's do one. Saturday or Sunday. We'll be here. All right. We'll go
have
out
Olympics to review. I can't wait.
We'll go out to some sort of song. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I wanted to go out to a Kanye West song, but he won't release a goddamn song. So what are you going to do?
He won't
Not
give it
doing
to
a
us,
music
dude.
reaction. We only do the music video reactions when I can sit 4 centimeters from the screen. So couldn't do that this time. Right.
Exactly.
All right. Peace be with you, Sean. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next weekend.
And with your spirit. Adios.
Peace.
You niggas sleeping on me, here we go again. Going in till I roll up in a fucking yacht. Ayy, ride up on Jefferson, ride